All right, so the first step in creating our card is stamping our images onto our white pieces of paper. Now I'm using this Mini Bird Crazy and Things stamp set from Stampers Anonymous, and the reason I like using Stampers Anonymous stamps for these classes is because they never discontinue their stamps, so I know whether you take this class now or in 5 years from now, you'll still be able to get the set if you're wanting to. So I'm stamping with Memento ink. I want to color my images in with Copic markers because it is my favorite way to color. But the first thing I'm going to do is stamp all my images and let the ink dry thoroughly before I start coloring. So I've got that guy stamped for the first one. So what I did with my stamp set, if you didn't see it, is I stamped the plastic when I got the set because there's so many different pieces here that I wanted to know if I was missing one, exactly what one that would be. And that way I'd be able to keep track of my stamps when I was using them, because there's nothing more annoying than losing a stamp and not being too sure when you lost it or where it could possibly be. So that way I'll find out super quick if I by chance happen to misplace a stamp, and I won't have to worry about losing them. So this one here, I wanted to put the flowers behind his little back there, so I'm going just to take a post-it note here, put the sticky side along his back, and stamp it that way. That way I'm not getting the stem from the flowers right in front of him there. I didn't do that for this because I figured that just the little tuft of his hair, I didn't really mind that on, or her hair, I didn't really mind that on that particular one there. Now I'm going to do this guy here. Now, which one do I have for that one? That's this one here. I've got two different block sizes here. And I'm lining these up by putting the little feet straight. So the birds are angled, but the feet are straight on the bottom there. Now I want to stamp my balloons. And in order to get several balloons in a clump, I'm stamping my first one. I have a few masks here that I created. They're just stamped onto Post-it notes and then cut out. Balloons are nice and easy to do this with. If by chance you don't have Post-it notes, Tombow Multi, if you put it on the back of paper and let it dry, it will dry like a Post-it note, so it will have, it'll be removable adhesive, so you can use that. And now doing my last one here. Now this particular set does have a stamp for the strings from the balloons, but it is not a very long string, so I am going to find the pen that I used yesterday and I'm going to color them in. I seem to have misplaced it, but instead of that, then I'm going to take my gold gel pen. I was using these gel pens to add accents at the end, but for this I'll make my balloons have gold strings. And just use that. There we go, set that aside to dry completely. But you see how by putting the mask there, you get a clump of balloons. You don't have a whole bunch of lines intersecting and overlapping each other. Now this guy here. Looking at his present, and when we go to mount him, we'll cut him in half because that particular panel opens in the center, but for right now we will just stamp it and we will color it as one piece. There we go. And then the last one here is this little one here with a box of chocolates and some hearts. So that is this one right here. And you don't necessarily have to use this image, obviously. You could use whatever images you want. I just really like these birds. I really like the character that they have. And I love that just because of the images, you can color them in nice bright colors. You can be really fun with them. Sizzix also makes a die set that you can die cut these pieces with. But for this particular card, we're just going to stamp them and then doing masking on top to create layers that way. You could use some die cuts on this particular card, but you wouldn't want to use too many. You wouldn't want to make your images too thick because it might interfere with the folds of the card. So I've got all my images stamped here. I'm going to let my ink dry completely. It probably is already dry, but I always want to make sure that it's dried completely before I start coloring, and then we will do our coloring. And I'm doing it with Copic markers. Can't remember if I already said that. They are an alcohol-based marker, and I love coloring with them simply because you get some beautiful blending with them. You can color the same image over and over and over again, and you're not going to start peeling the paper, and you can do some fun things with them. But you could also color these with die markers as well. If you're more comfortable with that, absolutely. If you're new to Copic markers, I do have another course on here that is focusing on Copic markers and the techniques that you can do with it. So check that out if you are interested. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video and we'll start some coloring.